Hi, this is Debbie. Welcome back to Cheyenne Life. And I wanted to just give everybody a quick update. It's been a while since I've actually posted anything, and the reason for that is, well, there's not a whole lot that goes on during the winter as far as planting goes. And this channel is more about gardening and just in general Cheyenne living. And right now, with the pandemic and all of that, we really haven't done a whole lot more than just go out and get groceries, and that's about it. So I haven't felt the need to go into recording a video that might be boring to anyone. So I am just mainly recording whatever happens with planting. And I did go ahead and get some seeds started already, even though it is the end, well, the middle part of February. I wouldn't really say it's towards the end, but February is a short month anyway, and then we'll soon be into March. But I did go ahead and get some planting done. I wanted to get some artichokes started already because they normally take about 6 to 8 weeks before they're ready to be planted outside anyway. And here in Wyoming, they need a little bit longer than that, really, before they're set out. So they won't be set out until the middle part of May, probably even towards the end of May, because there'll still be a frost possibility all the way up to the end of May, sometimes even to the 1st of June here in Wyoming. It's a very short growing season. If anyone does not know the climate here, it is more northern. I think we are in zone 6, like A, right here in Cheyenne, but I think in the other parts of Wyoming it might even be zone 5. I'm not sure. Suburban Wyoming could probably tell me a little bit more on that. I don't tend to look at those charts. I just try to grow things and see if they work out well, and so far they have. Anyway, one of the things that I have planted so far is artichokes, as well as some super sauce tomatoes. I really wanted to try those this year. Had seen a lot about them. They're like Romas, only that the fruit gets about 2 pounds each, and it is an indeterminate, so it may have loads and loads and loads of tomatoes on it, and they will continue all the way through into when it starts to frost in the fall. So anyway, I'm going to give you a little update on my plants here in my growing room. I call this my growing room because it gets the most sun. And I just have a rack set up in here, and I just put my seeds into the dirt in pots and hope for the best. I have never had any issues with that. I don't have any special lights in here. I don't have any type of heating pads, none of that, and I've never had any issue trying to start seeds. Some are a little bit slower to get started than others are, and I've found even with growing pads or heating pads or growing lights, that's still been the case. So I don't have any issues with it. I don't have any type of special starting mix or any of that. I just use potting soil for the start, and then later on as they get older, I start transitioning it out into garden soil. Once they go out into the garden, I will just surround, when I dig a hole, with garden soil and put them in it, in the potting soil. So I will show you that more later on when we get into the planting part of the season, and we'll get a real good beginning on that, since I didn't really have a beginning so much with the prior videos that I had made. And I want to thank everyone that has came in and are new subscribers to the channel, or have watched some of the videos that I have, because I have been seeing the comments coming in. Now, I have had some negative comments. I think those are mostly either people that see other comments that I make on other videos that don't agree with the points that I make. I don't really get into any of the political or any of the other movements that are going on as far as that goes here in this channel, because my opinions are my own, and I don't really feel that I need to share my opinions with anyone else that it may offend or bother them that I've made those opinions. But I do have very strong convictions on things that I believe. So that is my take on it, and I'm sure that you have your own take on it. Anyway, as you can see, all I do is just start them in pots, and of course these are all kind of mixed in with my regular house plants. I had a gift of a cactus, or not really a cactus, this is more of a succulent, I believe. And there's some type of aloe, and they were given to me, and I don't really know the name of them. Someone else may know that watches. If you do, please let me know what they are. But I was given the gift of these aloes, or whatever they are. As you can see, right here is one, and I have another one here, and another one over here, and I even have one down here. And one here. I apologize that you are hearing my dogs right now. They tend to bark at just about everything. So they are poodles. That's what they do. Anyway, they're in the house. But they're hearing me probably record video and they are thinking, hey, there's somebody in the house other than me, because they hear me talking to someone. So anyway, Thumbelina. Enough. Sorry about that. All right, let's get back into the video. Anyway, as you can see, these little aloes, and I even have one up here. Someone gave me one plant that had a couple of little babies in it. And as you can see, like in this plant towards the back, it's really hard to see with the sun. You can see these little tiny babies coming up. And I think even this one has one in it, as you can see right over there. And probably a couple of more in there that just are so small you can't really see them. This one has one right over here. I have found that this keeps happening with these plants, and I am not a fan. I think that there's just way too many at this point. I know, Gardening Channel and saying, hey, there's too many of these plants, but they are just coming up everywhere. And I've even been finding them in some of my pots that have never had any of these plants in them. So I'm not sure how they propagate, but it seems to be they don't have seeds. I've not seen them bloom anything. I'm just not real sure how they're getting into the other pots, but I keep pulling them out and putting them in other places, and it's just kind of ridiculous. So I will not have these plants again. I'm going to get them down to one pot. I'm going to keep the one pot, and that'll be it, because I do have larger aloes, as you can see here. And one of the reasons why I have these aloes more in the shade, I found out that they do better not being in direct sun. I have seen when I go to pick up, like, say, an aloe plant somewhere in the past, I haven't done that in a long time, but I've seen when you pick up an aloe plant in the past, they'll have a little tag in there and say, hey, they need direct sunlight. No, they don't. In fact, they were suffering when I had put them in direct sun. I had the tips of this large one here that were just dying back, breaking off, and there's still even one of them there that was having issues. But now, since I have put it into the shade, and this has been probably a year now, because they take a really long time to heal, this plant has healed. And it is, as you can see, the center section is just so healthy, so green, so beautiful. And this plant actually came to me from California. It is a wild plant. It was not a cultivated plants. It was out in a friend of ours' yard, and she had a whole lot of these plants out there, and she brought me these from California, both of them. This one actually had some damage a few weeks ago from my grandson bumping into it, knocking it off of a shelf, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of broken leaves down at the bottom. Call them leaves or spikes or whatever, but it's still a very healthy plant. It has healed towards the ends of those. As you can see, it is crusted over, and they will either grow back out or they will just die off and be replaced by new ones. This one is growing a little bit faster than the other one is, but it is now, this one was very, very small when I got it, and it's now huge. So I'm going to have to put it in another pot. And some of these, as she had in her yard in California, were enormous. I'm talking like probably 6, 7, 8 feet around, with enormous big spikes on them. And these are considerably larger than what they were when she brought them. So I will be having to put them in larger pots soon. But the best things with aloes that I have seen, because my mother used to grow a lot of these, is to let them get pot bound. Once they get pot bound, then go ahead and transfer them into another pot and make sure you're loosening the soil all around the root base, the root ball, I guess, at the bottom. Make sure you're loosening it so it doesn't have any issues trying to expand into the new pot. They are not really a cactus. They are a succulent which likes to suck up water. So I've not had any issue with watering these plants as these aloe as I would water anything else, because I water this whole section pretty much every single day. And I will water the aloes about every other day to every other 2 days. and they absolutely love it. Anyway, this plant here that you can see is my rosemary. And this was a rosemary that I had started last season, towards the end of the season, more into fall, and just brought it inside over the winter. Unfortunately, the basil that I'd had for like 4 seasons, finally did completely die off. I collected the seeds, and I've already started some of the seeds from that plant, so they will be clones. They're not really supposed to go from one season to the next, but they will if everything is in the right conditions and there's not really a really harsh winter. So I brought it inside in the hopes that it would survive, but it didn't, and I just went ahead and collected the seed. It did go to seed, and I'm saving them to plant for the spring. And I have some marjoram. This was a marjoram pot that I had with a quite old marjoram plant in it. It was like 2 or 3 years old. And I went ahead and, because it was just kind of straggly, they're not really supposed to last very long either, especially in Wyoming climate. I went ahead and cleaned it out, saved all the leaves and seeds, because it had already went to seed as well. It bloomed and then went to seed. So I collected all of those, and I have replanted those, and those should be coming up shortly. They do, in my experience, take a little bit longer to come up than some of the other seeds that I have had. The last time when I planted this pot, it probably took almost a month for the seeds to really start germinating. So I'm just leaving it alone, letting it go. I do have more of the marjoram seed in case that does not come up. I've not had a whole lot of success with marjoram coming up very well, but it does. So all I really want is one plant to come up, and then I just basically take care of it from that. I did go ahead and get some new succulents this season as well. This was back at Christmas time. I spotted these little succulents. This one is actually about 3 times the size it was when I picked it up. It's very, very cute. I'm not really sure what either one of these are, except for the one, which is some sort of variation of a hen and chick. That's what we used to call them in the South. And I have some of these outside, but this one is a different variety. It has a little bit more hair on it, I guess, or spikes or something, and is a little bit smaller than those are outside that I have. Some of the ones I have outside are larger than my hands. So this one is some sort of different type. There's actually 3 or 4 of those in there, but you just really can't see them. There's one of them, if you can see it kind of in the back. But then I also got this one, which is a very odd one. I've never seen this type. Well, I've seen them, but I haven't ever grown them myself. But this one is probably double the size that it was when we first picked it up. And then this one I have never seen at all, ever, as far as growing. And it has these weird little circular tubes, I call them. But it's pretty interesting, and it already seems to be growing pretty well. I almost lost it. It wanted to die, and I just kept watering it and put it into a separate area, and it seems to not like as much soil as the other ones do. So I took some of the soil out, and it really bounced back from there. It had gotten all wrinkly and started to look like it was withering, but it has really had a comeback. Anyway, I did start some cabbage, and the cabbage are already coming up. I think I've got 4 in there that have came up so far, but I think I see a 5. All right, so I've got 5 that have came up, maybe 6. There we go. Anyway, I've got about 8 or 10 plants in here that are seeds that should be coming up. That's about all I need for a season. I don't have a whole lot of room for cabbages, and we are expanding the garden this year. I'm going to be trying some, I think his name is Charles Dowding, no dig with the cardboard and then the compost and things on top of it. But right now we have, as you can see outside, snow. And the ground is frozen, so I can't really work with the ground right now to get that started, but will be very, very shortly. So those have came up, and I want them to become pretty strong, larger, healthy plants before I take them outside. So you're looking at probably a month and a half of growth before I set them outside, and they will handle frost pretty well. So I will plant those probably more towards the end of April, and it should be all right with them. If there is a frost that comes, there's usually a frost sometime in May, but I will just cover them up and see if they make it through. If they don't, then I will just pick up a pack of plants somewhere if that's possible at one of the local box stores. Anyway, I do also have some artichokes that were planted. As I was saying, I want to get those out more towards the middle of May, and I want them to have quite some good growth on them. And as you can see, they are not wasting time. They have already started coming up, but I still have another 4 seeds in here that have not came up yet. And if they don't come up in the next few days, I will go ahead and replant those, because the seed that I have is older. It's about 3 years old now, so it may have some issues germinating. But I'm going to use the seed that I have, and those 2 plants look very healthy for being 3-year-old seeds. So we'll go ahead and get those replanted if they don't come up, but I still expect that they will pop up, because those were very, very early. I planted those, and within 3 days they were up. And I did go ahead and put some basil in here as well. And as you can see, it is up all over the place. I didn't plant very many seeds in this because this is kind of a smaller container, but I just wanted to have something to kind of take over the pot after I take these out. And I will go ahead and probably put some more basil on this other side once I do that, and that will kind of be a variegated planting. And I wanted to show you my lemon tree that I had started maybe 4 years ago now. I think it's 3 years old though. And I had shown a little bit in the summertime, and it was about 2 feet tall then. Well, it's about 3.5 feet tall now. In fact, probably 4 if I stretch it out. And it has started to branch off, as you can see. And I am going to be pruning that back because I'm expecting that it will likely bloom this year and probably have a couple of fruit on it, because that is about the time when they start having fruit. And as you can see, I also have an Amaryllis here that is doing amazingly. As you can see, it already had 1 set of blooms on it right around Christmas time, and it already has another stalk up with blooms on it. And one of the ways that you get Amaryllis to be instigated to grow is to cut all of the leaves that come up, because it'll usually have like 4 or 5, maybe 6 long leaves that come out. And if you go ahead and cut those back, it will make it decide that it wants to go ahead and shoot up the stalk to bloom. And once this one is dying back, then I will go ahead and cut both of these off, and it will probably cause it to bloom again. So this plant last season, it bloomed, I think 3 or 4 times. And I'm going to look at trying to get some more Amaryllis this next season, but it should be the bulb beginning to split. As you can see with the 2 stalks, there probably is a split down there, and I'm going to go ahead and try to split that bulb and get 2 plants out of it. But anyway, that is the update on what I have going on right now. I apologize that it has been so long that I have posted any videos. I just didn't want to bore anyone with boring content of me just going to the grocery store, because it's basically all that we can do in this pandemic. And I hope everyone is doing well out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notices of new videos that come out. And again, thank you to everyone that has subscribed to the channel and has watched the videos and are enjoying what content that I have. I'm not some great YouTube content creator, and that is my bamboo. I picked these up for like $1 on clearance, and they have really done amazingly. But anyway, just like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get more notices on the videos that come out. And if you have any suggestions for videos, then let me know in the comment section below. But I look forward to hearing from everyone. And hey out there, Suburban Homestead, Wyoming, or Wyoming Homestead, we miss you out here in Wyoming. I think you're living it up down there in Arizona right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing what all you're going to be harvesting down there before heading back up. And I'm wondering, since you are in Arizona right now, when you actually start to head back for the next growing season here in Wyoming. Anyway, look forward to hearing from everybody, and have a good day wherever you are.